You're tuned in to a Georgian College podcast, brought to you by the School of Computer Studies. So welcome back to Practical 2 assignment. This time around we're going to look at the HTML and explain the different parts of the HTML. And so what we have here is the incomplete web page that we looked at in the first screencast. And again, notice that it has drop-down menus placed for the user to input a value, a submit button, and where the answer will appear. So let's go ahead and dive into the HTML. So here's the HTML and a few things to explain. So here we have the external CSS that you're going to be using to style this particular web page. Here we have jQuery, the external JavaScript jQuery. Now this is going to be an important part of this web page, but you don't necessarily need to understand everything about jQuery right now. Just know that it's a very good thing that you should look into jQuery, and it's what we'll use to do unobtrusive JavaScript. Yeah, better look that up. Unobtrusive JavaScript. It's a good thing. All right, and here's our own external JavaScript where you're going to do most of your work to do the conversions. So inside the body of the HTML, you'll notice that there's a form, right? And it's pretty much right now, it's the only thing there is the form. Notice that we're using the ID attribute for a lot of the elements in the form, right? And the form itself has been given an ID of converter. Right. Now, please note that when you use ID attribute, you need to use unique names for your ID. You can't have two converters. You can't have two, number one elements that are tagged with that. It has to be a unique if you're using ID. If you need to specify a group of things that are the same, then use class, but not ID. So here's our form. And in that form, we have a select tag, a select structure, and it's been tagged convert from. And notice what's in there. You got option bits, option bytes. So if we want to add more options to the drop-down, we just add another one. So let's say we're gonna add kilobits. There we go. If I save this, and we'll just jump back to the HTML and refresh. Notice that kilobits is now part of that. So that's how easy it is to add to a drop-down in an HTML select element. And so you're going to do that for all the data units that's been specified. And once you've done that, really what you want to do is do a copy this and paste it on top of what's there, and now you have the two of the same, which you need to have the two selects to be the same. All right, so what else is next? So we have input, an input element, and that's where the user will type in the value that they want converted. Notice that it has ID number 1 and it has type text. Next element that we see is the submit. That's the submit button, right? And then when you click that, the conversion should happen. And lastly, we have a span where the number will appear, the answer to the conversion. All right, so that's it for the HTML part, and we're going to move and talk about the JavaScript in the next screencast.